You're listening to the Flow Friday Sports Show, and joining me on the line now is Nicole McMahon to talk all about Mallee Netball. Lovely to have you back, Nicole. How are you doing?
Hello, I'm good. Thanks, Ellis. How are you?
Going very well. And Lamoureux, they went well in the end, but I tell you what, made very hard work of it against BDT. So what went on here, Nicole? Your side getting a 1-point win in the end over BDT, 36-35.
They had a great last quarter, Lamoureux. It took them 3 quarters to really find their jam. And BDT, I was watching it, I thought they were going to get there. They had some great players on the court. Emily Richardson having a ripper in centre court and then went into goals. I thought Lucy Dow was doing really well in goals as well, and Holly Hughes through the centre court for them. But Lamoureux, just that last quarter, we needed to win this to cement our place in the top 4, and they decided, yep, this is it. And I thought, yeah, Abby Maynard and Katrina Bell just come out there, guns blazing and shot really well. Young Emmy Zirk down in defence, who has come up after Cassie Sparks, unfortunately, was injured. She really held her own and played a great game alongside Emily Tonkin. So, yeah, they were down by 5, I believe, coming into the last quarter, and it just shows you cannot go into netball complacently and wait till you hear the result of Peak defeating Pinaroo, a similar game there where you can't lay down in netball. A 5-goal lead is only a couple of turnovers when you alternate the set of passes after every goal. So well done to Lamoureux, a 1-goal victory, which means that they are going to be in finals.
Fantastic. They do say, I don't want to jump the gun here, of course, Nicole, but they say it's a sign of a champion team when you can pull it out of the fire like that, and Lamoureux certainly did that. And, of course, positionally now, you are still a chance to get that lucrative second place on the table going into the final round. So a very important win there. And I'm glad you spruiked the Pinaroo game, because another nail-biter, just 1 goal in it again. Peak Pinaroo, 43-42. Another nail-biter, Nicole.
It was, but I couldn't believe when I heard the rundown from the coaches. Pinaroo were actually up by 10 goals at 3/4 time. Like that is a huge lead. But, as I said, that's only really 5 turnovers that Peak had to get, and they did. Pinaroo, I believe the last quarter was very wet, and those conditions just did not suit them. Bianca Carl just came out and shot really well and helped her team get that lead. Pinaroo really happy with their first 3 quarters, but in netball there is 4 quarters, so that wasn't quite enough. So that means that it's a bit shaky as to whether Pinaroo will hold on to that second spot now. Although the top 4 are cemented, it will come down to these last round of games.
Karoonda had the easiest game across the sides that will contend in finals, hosting Murrayville, and they made no error here. But would you think that going into the last round and really wanting to sort of show off their premiership credentials, Nicole, that they would have liked to have, dismissed Murrayville in more of a comprehensive way? Yeah,
I was actually surprised. 23 goals is still a pretty good win, but, that's pretty admirable of Murrayville to still get 32 goals on the board. They are the bottom side, have only won 1 game, but they do go out there and they do compete, which is really good. And I know Kirsty Hartley, the coach, was really happy with how their girls were performing. Got a lot of young guns in their team. Crystal and Chloe, I know, had a ripper in defence. And they had Stacey Mercer-Bruns, a mature age player, I'll say, but, she's still got it. And I know she made the team of the week as well. And it's great to have, some older experienced players leading the way in that side. Karoonda, they didn't have Abby Paik, so that definitely would have left a gap in their side. But she was replaced by Nicole Simon. I think she's married now. I can't think of her name, but Nicole Renee gelled really well in the goals. Kiara Paik through the centre court, just dominating again. She has had a ripper season, and I think she'll poll very well in the upcoming Association Best and Fairest votes. And she's supported by young Jess Kerr in wing attack, who's also had a really good season. And they finally had Franny back in defence as well. So, a solid win to Karoonda, but that's the top side. And I think it's going to be, a really interesting last round match with them coming up against second position Pinaroo.
You almost would be really hard-pressed as a neutral to select which game you're going to go out and watch. We'll go to the table. As you mentioned before there, Nicole, it's pretty much all set in terms of the top 5, and we've got our finals team secured as well. So the top 4, Karoonda in first. They are going to run away with the minor premiership. Pinaroo second, Peak third, Lameroo fourth. But between second and fourth, still anyone's game, Nicole. And of course, you want to finish as high as you can going into the finals. You want that momentum. So tell us how you see it all going in this final round.
Well, see, Ellis, I actually think it's not too bad finishing that third or fourth spot. That's what we did last year, to come in and win, because then you do often get, you get the extra game. You play the first semi, then you play the prelim, and then you play the grand final. So it isn't all things lost if you end up third or fourth. So I don't think teams will be too disheartened if they do end up in that third or fourth position. But if Pinaroo do drop off, I think they'll be disappointed because it means they've lost a game they probably shouldn't have. Or, they obviously won't get that second chance. But interesting, BDT haven't made that top 4. I was going to go back and do a bit of research. I don't think there's been a year they haven't made the finals since they've entered the competition. So a bit sad there because it is, of course, BDT's last game in the Mallee League. Minor rounds this week. Well, it will be their last game for the A grade. So that's really sad for them. They didn't get to make a finals appearance, but didn't get enough wins on the board.
We'll head into the final round of fixtures. I don't want to pump the pressure on, but I think, you can relax a little bit with your game, Nicole. Is it a fair statement or not?
It should be. It should definitely be. Last time Lameroo played Marvel, they won by a huge 41 goals. But Marvel, they are still competing, as we said, and it's Marvel. They've got a pretty special last home game. Finally, getting rid of their old sheds that they've got there and having a huge redevelopment, which is really exciting. Can't wait to see that. Lameroo, though, the game against Borders, it took them 3 quarters to really fire up. So I'm really hoping we can see a strong 4 quarters from Lameroo. But no, we should have a convincing win at the Doggies' home ground tomorrow.
I'm really interested to see what will happen with BDT and Peak because, as you said, they're BDT going into their final game. They're going to want to finish strong, and not only that, but they're not sort of down and out like Murrayville are, and they can still have a big say in what happens in terms of the final placings for that top 4. So I think they'll be a formidable opponent for Peak in this game, Nicole.
Yeah, this will be a great game. I'll would almost call it the match of the round, but probably Pinaroo or Karoonda will take that. But they've had a few great matches, these two. Peak won the first game when they met by 1 goal, and then BDT won by 15. Excuse me. BDT, they have had a pretty inconsistent season in that you think, they're the ones to beat one week and then they lose a game they probably should have won the next. So they are really hard to call. But Peak, Bianca Carl really found her form last game. But BDT, they've just got some great girls on the court still, and they've got nothing to lose. Peak will want to win this to hang on to that to get into that top 2. So if Peak wins and if Pinaroo lose, I think that's where Peak can knock Pinaroo out of that top 2 spot. So I'm going to call an upset and say that BDT are going to win it just because they can, and they've got a home game. And this is their last A grade game in the Mallee League. So I'll go BDT by 3 goals.
Yeah, the potential fairy tale upset in their last game. Pinaroo Karoonda now, Nicole, I'm just looking at the table here and, there's really not a whole lot going for Pinaroo. Like, if they were to pull this upset off, I guess the biggest carrot is that, Karoonda will then be a little bit rattled going into finals. But really, if Pinaroo were to win this game, you're sort of looking at the table and going, oh, well, yeah, cool. It's a bit meh. What do you reckon?
Oh, Pinaroo really want to win this game. I know that much. They lost the last one by 2, and before that they lost by a whopping 38, but we won't talk about that. I know they won't want to. Pinaroo, though, importantly, they have had Abby Keogh missing the last 2 times they've played against Karoonda, and she will make an impact on their game. A very strong plays league or league reserves, Abby, so she's obviously going to make a difference to their side. Karoonda, though, they have their powerhouse, the Pate girls, Kiara, Shaylin and Abby. They really need to be shut down if Pinaroo want to get close to winning. But Pinaroo have a very strong lineup with Tash Venning and Steph Heineke, who often are appearing in their team of the week. It's going to be a really good clash. I think Pinaroo, they know they can do it. and I think it will be a close game. So I'll call another upset, and I'll pick Pinaroo to beat Karoonda.
Thank you, Nicole McMahon. Enjoy the game on the weekend and enjoy consuming all of those final 3 games of the minor premiership round. Great to have you again on the Flow Friday Sports Show, Nicole. Take it easy.
Yes, Ellis. Thanks.